Hello and welcome to Martin's Money Mutterings. This week's headlines: switch gas and electricity to the cheapest provider and get a crate of wine to go with it. How to make a free £10 from Homebase. Lots of high street discount vouchers available this week too, where you can get those from. ID fraud, should you be worried? And if you are, how to get protected for free. Santa, don't pay to get a reply for your kids. There's a way to get Santa to reply absolutely for free. And mobile phone cashback, two of the big mobile phone companies have gone bust, the cashback companies. What you need to do about it, is cashback worth it? And all of that malarkey. Welcome to Martin's Money Muttering. Self-evidently, I'm Martin. The idea is easy. I send a massive email from the website each week, loads of ways to save money, and this is an audio and video commentary to go with it. But it's only a commentary. So if you haven't got the email in front of you, please go to moneysavingexpert.com/latest tip, where you'll be able to see it and listen to me or watch me, depending how you're doing it. Okay, no further ado, let's save you some money. Gas and electricity switching, the easiest way to save money possible. It takes 5 minutes. You go to one of the comparison websites, you put in your details, you tell it how much you use and what your bill is, and it tells you who your cheapest supplier is, then you press switch, and they switch you. Simple as that. Big business though for the comparison sites. They make up to 60 quid each time they switch you. So, a few years ago I started a price war on the site. It all came, one of these companies came to me and said, "Young Martin," because I was younger then, "Young Martin, how do we get to be your top pick comparison site?" I said, "There's no way. Doesn't really make that much difference between you." They said, "What can we do?" I said, "All right then, why not give a cut of the money you make back to your customers?" Quite surprisingly, because I was being flippant, they came back the next day and said, "All right, we'll give it a try, we'll give it a tenner." That was 3 years ago. They did it, it worked, and now we've had a price war. All of them will offer some form of cashback or freebie, but not if you go direct, only if you go through the site. Because if you're going direct, they know you want to switch. Why are they going to bribe you to do it? This way, it's a very competitive market because you can see all the companies. Now, this week, USwitch, which is the biggest one out there, has said, any money savers who switch, it will give a voucher for 40 quid's worth of wine from Virgin. It actually comes in a case, 6 bottles of red, 6 bottles of white. I don't really drink wine. I got my team out there to test it. Good job, isn't it? Good team out there. And the verdict was, for some, and ugh, for others. So it's a mixed case. What the hell, it's Christmas time, you'll probably enjoy it. Very easy to do though. Now that doesn't mean USwitch is now my top pick. For reliability and feedback, I still like Energy Helpline. If you're doing a dual fuel switch, which is where you're going to a company and getting your gas and electricity from the same supplier, which isn't always cheapest, then Money Supermarket will give you the most cash back at 30 quid if you want cash back. So Energy Helpline for feedback and reliability, Money Supermarket for dual fuel top cash back, and USwitch if you want the crate of wine. That's your choice. Bish bash bosh. It takes 5 minutes. You could save 200 quid a year by switching. Go switch. Read the article. It's all in there. Next, a quick and easy one. There's a loyalty card at Homebase. Yeah, you know Homebase, DIY store. Loyalty card at Homebase that says, sign up to this card and we'll give you 1,000 Homebase loyalty points. 1,000 Homebase loyalty points is worth a £10 voucher once you get it. It says you have to spend on the card. Now, it did say you had to spend 50 quid to get this to work, but we've had confirmation today that if you spend anything on the card, you'll get the voucher. So go to Homebase, buy the smallest thing they have. They do sometimes have sweets by the till. Buy your sweets by your till when you sign up for the loyalty card. Now you're eligible for the 1,000 points. You'll get them in January. Bish bash bosh, free £10 voucher from Homebase. Easy as that. Next on my list, ID fraud. Big hot potato right now. Political hot potato more than a money hot potato now. This is what's going on. As you know, last week a disc with 25 million people whose kids get child benefit disappeared. Everyone's going, where is it? Don't know. And nobody knows. Then, of course, the Conservatives, as they would do, rightfully attacked Labour government over mismanagement, and the press have waded in. But in fact, there hasn't actually been anything to happen on the money front. Nobody should be unduly worried by this. It's far more of a political story than a money story. But it's a great point for me to plug at you. You need to be protecting yourself from ID fraud in general. The key is, people want your identity. There's a couple of golden rules. Always check your bank account. If a product comes through the post, make sure you're shredding it. Never, ever, ever reply to an email asking for your password or personal details, or a phone call, or a direct mail. Always go to what you know is your bank or your provider. Go to the number you know or the website address you know. Let's say it was Egg. Go to www.egg.com. Not whatever they link to, even if you think it's legitimate. Although it's a hassle, that's a way to protect yourself. And finally, if you are worried, forget ID fraud insurance. Makes me angry. A whole industry has grown up to try and sell us the fear of ID fraud. It's not that prevalent, we don't need it, it's over expensive, and they're almost as bad as the fraudsters, although not quite, I'll admit. There is free protection out there if you're savvy. 2 credit cards, Capital One and Barclaycard, say if you've got our card, we will give you free ID fraud protection helplines, even if the ID fraud isn't on our card, if it's on any of your products. And you don't actually have to be using the card to get the helpline, you just have to have it. So simply go and apply for one of those cards, shove it in a drawer, never use it, you now have access to an ID fraud helpline. Lots of other ways to get free ID fraud help are available too. Have a look in the article if you're worried. If you've got child benefit, a few clever things in there. If your PIN number is your kid's birthday or your kid's name alphanumerically, that needs switching. That's not good. Go switch it and change it now. Have a look at that article. Right, more quick one. Vouchers. Remember the Threshers voucher last year? They said give it to your friends and family. Well, this year everybody's at it. High Street this week. We've got vouchers from Debenhams, Borders. I'm looking, I've got notes over there, I couldn't remember them all. Debenhams, Borders, ELC, Jaeger, Waterstones, Carnaby Street, and we're working on a whole lot more. Selfridges may have one and a couple more that they're sending out by email. We're going to them all and saying, can we put them on the website? And most of them are saying yes. So simply a big list of high street vouchers that you print out, take in store, and you get 20, 25, 15% off, whichever the voucher happens to be. That's also around this week. Free reply from Santa. Another thing to make me growl. I was about to bark, that's not good, I'll just growl. There are companies out there who charge to give a reply from Santa if your kids write to them. I find that to be outrageous. Santa will reply himself. If you write to Santa or your kids write to Santa at Reindeerland, you will get a reply from Santa, courtesy, that was an Anne Robinson, wasn't it? Courtesy of his friends at the post office. I think you know what I'm saying, but just in case there are some kids watching out there. Simple as that, Santa will reply as long as you do it before the 10th of December. Santa, which is S-A, and the postcode is S-A-N-1-T-A. Clever, eh? Santa, Reindeerland. Simple as that. Next on my list, not a good one. Mobile phone cashback. Now, I've never been a fan of these deals, and the new mobile phone article I wrote the other week followed the format I've been following for years, which says, first of all, find the cheapest tariff. Ignore cashback, ignore discounts, you want the cheapest tariff. The tariff is the network's price for your calls or your text or your data use. It sets whether you're paying 2 or 3p a minute. Once you've found the cheapest tariff, whether it's pay-as-you-go or contract, then you can look for a cashback deal. Why? Because once you've got the cheapest tariff, you know it's as cheap as it can possibly be for you. Then you go for the cashback deals, which is where they say, hey, sign up for an 18-month contract and we'll give you back 600 quid in cash, effectively making your contract free. That's what they promise. The problem is you have to jump through more hoops than a hoop jumper. That was a terrible analogy. I'll move on. I should have said more hurdles than Colin Jackson. That would have been better, to try and get these cashback deals. And they often don't work, so they're a nightmare. So if you go for the tariff first, then try and get the cash back. If you don't get the cash back, you're still on the cheapest deal. That's always my theory. Problems happen now. 2 of the big cashback operators, because their business model is predicated that most people won't be able to get the cash back. As you lot are getting savvy, because people like me and others out there write detailed guides of how to beat the cashback trap, too many people actually got their cash back, were eligible for it, these companies couldn't afford to pay, and bang, they've fallen over and gone bust. And guess what? You have no recourse to the networks who try and push these disgraceful deals. They subsidise them, and then they go, oh, it wasn't us, it was the retailer, it's now to do with us. Once they go bust, it's a disgraceful scenario. There's a guide for people who are getting new mobile phones, how to not get caught by the cashback trap. There's also, I've written for if you've got one of those 2 companies that have just gone into administration, what you can try and do. We're also putting a petition to number 10 to try and say the network shouldn't get away with this. If you've got one of those deals, we're trying to help you. I have to say, hold my hands up. We've looked at every single angle possible and it is not going to be easy to get your money back. Problem is when a company goes into administration, it's got no cash. So where are you meant to get the money from? And the networks very cleverly have clear blue water between them and the retailers. Nearly at the end now. Quick one, biggest ever PPI reclaiming win, £25,000. Huge. £25,000 reclaim on PPI. Very impressive, very impressive. If you've got a loan or credit card and you've not checked whether your insurance was missold to you, do it. £25,000. Next, Bank Charges song. Hooray! We've outsold the Spice Girls, but we need more to get to #1 in January, or even top of the charts in January. When the song releases, 7th of January it releases, 13th of January in the charts. Bank Charges OFT test case starts, we hope, because it might move, on the 14th of January. We want to be #1 the week that test case starts. Please help. If you support the cause, if I've ever saved you money, I could do with the favour. It costs you 50p plus standard text charges. No spam, no nonsense. None of us, me, nor the band, nor the text company are making any money from this. But we need to get top of the charts to spread the message about Bank Charges reclaiming, and also to get a good message across to teenagers around the country who look and listen to the charts, to give them their first hint of the real scepticism that's needed to survive this 21st century really rapidly competitive consumer economy. So I hope you'll help out on that. If you don't want to, no problem. Not everybody agrees with me. It is a political issue. Accept that. Otherwise, what I do hope, though, is you save some money. See ya.